right there. Right there. Just that one.
Activate the statue of deportation.
Man, I can't wait to see people's faces when we come on shore. This should really get the city's positive energy flowing.
The statue of deportation has arrived in New York City.
What's up, guys? We're here at the Department of Homeland Security in downtown New York. Manhattan has been ground zero for criminal illegal immigration in this country, and that stops now. We'll be spending the day with Secretary of Homeland Security Kristi Noem with ICE agents, and we're gonna be right here on this beautiful Coast Guard cutter. It's called the Tahoma. They won't let us fire that gun. We've already asked. Sucks. But we're going to be doing some enforcement today. It's going to be great. Day in the life of an ICE agent and a day in the life of keeping America safe, secure, prosperous, and America for Americans. Let's go. Secretary, thank you for being with us today. Amazing backdrop here.
Yeah.
Coast Guard ship.
It's been pretty special
Manhattan.
to be here. Yes.
That's right.
That's
you had
right.
some big shout outs last night. The joint address to Congress, President Trump, like half the speech was about the border. Congratulations.
Well, our Border Patrol and ICE and all of the partnerships that we have in Homeland Security have been doing a great job, but got a lot more to do. We've got a lot of people in this country that need to go back home.
Yes, that's right. You're going to hit the $1 million goal mark of deportations in the first year? Yeah.
That's what the president wants, and we will meet that goal for him. We won't disappoint him. It's a challenge because we've got, like this city, as a sanctuary city, is not partnering with us in ways that we would like. We'd like to go after these individuals that are committing crimes, but the leadership of the city council is necessary to make that happen.
Yes. And are we going to get that today? And one of the ICE agents said, hey, we have 7.5 million people that we've identified that are here criminally, illegally, and we could get them and round them up today.
Yeah,
but they're stopping us.
They know where they are, and there are members of TDA right here in this city that are dangerous gang members that, because we do not have criminal warrants, that we're not allowed to, with the local leadership here and with the governor, go in and force entry, get a warrant to go in and bring them to consequences. So that's our biggest challenge right now. We need to be able to take enforcement actions against these individuals to remove them.
We're on a Coast Guard ship. There's been some great enforcement actions.
Yeah.
Team telling me that they've gotten 66,000 pounds of cocaine. Yeah. Don't tell Hunter Biden.
No,
right?
That's right. Yeah, really? We don't want to let him know where all that is.
Please.
Well, what's great about the Coast Guard is that they are a rescue mission. You know, they're there for people in a time of crisis, but they're also out on our waters and in our ports making sure that we're picking up nefarious activity. They do intelligence sourcing for us, but they're also bringing in a lot of this fentanyl drugs, interdiction efforts that we need to really keep it off of our streets. So, you know, we have a concerted effort by gangs, cartels, and China to kill our next generation of Americans. And the Coast Guard is on the front lines of that every single day. And what you heard today in the discussion was they don't have the resources they need. You know, they've been neglected for a lot of years. When you're looking at our Department of Defense, the Army and Navy, Air Force, Marines, a lot of times the people don't think about the fact that the Coast Guard is out there every single day, not just rescuing people that are in a crisis, but they're also a big part of keeping this country safe.
Yeah. So a big part of keeping this country safe was the Secret Service last night. Pretty amazing moment.
Yeah.
That's like the most heartwarming moment. I don't know if you knew that was going to go down.
I knew it was going to go down, but I
Sean Curran just
I teared up when that little guy threw himself into Sean's arms. I thought that's the recruitment video that the Secret Service needs. I mean, that is the heroes that they are. And when they were up there hugging and his little dreams came true, that was fantastic.
You got emotional?
I did. I don't cry very often, but I did then, because I just thought, here this little guy, maybe it wasn't even still going to be around.
That's right.
And then he had this law enforcement officer who's the most powerful one in the country because he gets to protect the President of the United States, that made him his colleague. made him just like he is. He wants to grow up and be like Sean, and Sean made it happen.
Yeah, little DJ.
Yeah.
He survived cancer. He only had 5 months left. Now he's 5 years in. He's a total hero.
Yeah.
Yet, no Democrats stood up and clapped.
I was disgusted by the Democrats last night. I was ashamed of them. I served in Congress when President Obama was the president, and President Obama was doing horrible things to our country and lying to us, but we stood up and we gave him the respect of an applause when he walked into the room, and we listened, and we maybe disagreed and chose not to stand at certain parts, but we all would have stood for a little boy with brain cancer. We all would have stood for the humanity of families who lost their children in a tragic situation. So the fact that the Democrats acted the way that they did last night, I think was really shameful. We wouldn't raise our children to act that way, and here these are elected leaders that, I've never seen anything like it before. It is the House of Representatives doesn't deserve people to serve there that act like that.
Yeah, Debbie Wasserman Schultz was in charge of the DNC. She rolled her eyes. It's on camera. She rolled her eyes back into her head when DJ, little kid with cancer, got a badge from the Secret Service, one of your agencies. I mean, this is horrible behavior.
Yeah, it really was. It really was. And I think all of America clearly. I thought when I visited with some of the Democrats earlier this year that maybe they'd gotten the message of the last election. But last night, it's clear that they're just out of touch. They don't understand how people feel in their communities or what it's like to understand the humanity of what America is about. America is about freedom and loving each other and people and all different kinds of backgrounds and embracing each other and listening to each other. And clearly, they're not even willing to do that.
Yeah, so not a lot of that was going on MSNBC. Rachel Maddow called it disgusting. And Nicole Wallace on MSNBC said that DJ should consider potentially killing himself. Those are her words, not mine. That's what she said. And she said that she made it in light of a joke about trying to make a joke about January 6th or something. It's repulsive. It's the most viral clip on the internet right now. Well, do you think that she should lose her job for statements like this?
Absolutely. Absolutely. There is a standard for those who report our news and who cover what happens in this country. And yes, those who employ her and pay her her paycheck should evaluate if they want that to be the face of their operation.
Yeah. Really quickly on Sean Curran, big time, big shoes, right? Secret Service, ups and downs, scandals, things like that. Sean stepping into this role, doing a great job. How's he doing?
Oh, he is, absolutely. He does have a big job, but he understands the challenge and he understands the integrity of the Secret Service and what that long-term reputation means. So I've been thrilled to visit with him and talk to him about what he wants to do with the Secret Service. And getting them more agents is important. The fact of the matter is they don't have enough agents. They don't have the training that they need, because when you're short on agents, they give up their time and training to go cover protective details that they need to do or do investigations that they have a responsibility for and miss out on what they need for training. So he understands that recruitment's important. They also have to make sure that they're doing smart operations and doing protective detail that is important for the security of the country. But then also getting those trainings in and making sure they have the right resources to do the job.
Yeah, not Dr. Fauci.
Not Dr. Fauci. No, not Dr. Fauci. Well, and the president has been pretty aggressive at deciding who gets a protective detail and who doesn't, which I think is smart.
Yeah, that's right. John Bolton, he's a rich guy. You can afford your own. Yeah.
And I got the call to make sure we were addressing that, I think, on inauguration night. He said, notify John Bolton that he will not have protective service much longer. So I think we woke him up and got him out of bed to let him know.
Did you really wake up?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
That sounds like a very grumpy John Bolton. He's a very grumpy man. You said there was a great advertisement.
Yeah.
You said it was a great advertisement for Secret Service. Secret Service has had some bad advertisements, right? Like the assassination attempt in Butler.
Yes.
And many people, especially in our audience, are frustrated at the lack of understanding of what the motivation was, who was Matthew Thomas Crooks talking to on the phone, what was happening behind the scenes. Some investigators are out saying he might not have acted alone. Again, what people want, I think, is just information, because it seems so strange. This guy almost started a civil war, changed the course of human history with 8 shots on the president.
Well, we need to
When are
know
we
the
gonna-
truth,
yeah.
and Americans deserve the truth.
When
They
are we gonna
really do.
know?
Yeah, and that is all information that the president will be fully briefed on and will know, and that the American public will know. What I will say also is that what we have seen continuously, and what I see as a fundamental flaw, is a breakdown in communication. And it's part of my job at DHS is to help streamline that. If you look at that situation in Butler, the communication between Secret Service, the local law enforcement, the state law enforcement, all the agencies that were there, it was a breakdown in how they communicate and how they do it in a situation like that. But we see the same thing happening in a crisis that could be in response to a natural disaster. How the federal responders communicate with the state responders, with the local emergency management operators. A lot of times when we see failures in FEMA or in failures in other departments and agencies, it's because they weren't communicating. And for me, my job, what I believe needs to happen so many times is a pre-education and a structure for how we communicate and how we do things before they happen. Sean knows that part of that training that needs to happen is educating folks on how we're going to work with local law enforcement before that event ever comes, and spending time to create those communication structures. Because if you go back through the investigations that the House and the Senate have done into Butler, a lot of it was they weren't talking to each other, they weren't cooperating together, therefore their assets weren't fully utilized. And how did that happen? How did 8 shots get off? And is he acting alone? We still don't have the answers because we weren't talking to each other.
So you don't know if he was acting alone?
Well, it's not my purview to say to you today what all of that, but I will say that it all is information that the American public will have at the appropriate
So there is an investigation going on,
Oh,
and we will learn a lot
absolutely.
more.
And members of Congress are still working on that as well, too. So it's not just an investigation, with law enforcement entities in the country, but also Congress is still very much on top of this.
So very quick follow-up on that. Ryan Ralph with the other assassin in Florida. Still, not a lot of information on this guy.
Nope.
Apparently he was recruiting for the Ukrainian military. He was flying all over the world. He was on the FBI's wanted list. He shouldn't have been able to even own a firearm. DHS apparently didn't investigate him when he came back into the country from Ukraine.
Right.
Any Ukrainian connection there? Any further information on Ryan Ralph?
There's still intelligence agencies here that are still doing investigations here. So my ability to speak to that right now today is not something that I can give you a lot of details on. But I will tell you that there are investigations ongoing, and knowing those ties are critically important. So how people come into this country, when they come on our radar, and what their nefarious activities were when they were back home is very important to predicting what they will do once they get here, and what they will do, and if they have real threats, not just against the president, but threats to people who live here too. So these individuals that come in, we need to know their ties and why they're here, and if they really do love America, and if they are a threat to our leader.
Yeah. Quick. Yep. Last question.
Yeah.
Florida, FEMA, Trump signs.
Yes.
The hurricane.
Yes.
I know this is something near and dear to your heart.
Yep.
I know we're in a disaster zone. What's happening with that investigation?
Well, it's still ongoing. The president's got a whole plan for what FEMA will look like in the future. So while we wrap that up, we're also reforming the entire agency and deciding that FEMA should no longer operate the way that it does because of situations exactly like that. So we cannot have any kind of targeting of operations or response and how we serve people. And local officials make the best decisions for what their people need. So how can we empower them to be their first responders and make the decisions for where resources go? That's really what we'll be focusing on, is rolling that out, but also getting those states to a point where they can respond, and where they, some states are fully prepared for every situation that might come their way because they've had someone at the helm that put in place a structure on public safety. Some states not at all. So we need to get them trained up to know really what it means to take care of people and make sure that we're taking care of everybody equally and not doing any targeting.
It's like a civil rights violation.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Got it.
Thank you, Secretary.
You bet. Thank you.
All right.
You bet.
After the interview, we hopped into the motorcade and zipped through the city. I got to tell you, I found a solution for New York traffic. Just getting a government motorcade with flashing lights and the sirens, man, you can just swing right through town without anybody stopping you. It's a really freaking sweet way to go. And we drove on out to Coney Island. Coney Island, the subway station there, is where a criminal alien lit an American citizen on fire while she was sleeping on a subway car. And, of course, this heinous satanic act, was protected by the city and state of New York. They refused to hand over this criminal alien for processing by the feds. Kristi Noem decided that she was going to take matters into her own hands and to go to this location and to make a point. Here we go.
We are here at the Coney Island subway station where a criminal alien killed an American citizen by lighting them on fire.
Yep. Right here, and then this is the bench that he came to and sat on and watched her burn. And listen, this individual had come into the country illegally in 2018, had left and had come back and re-entered. They think that was living here in New York City for over a year because he got free food and shelter, and this city facilitated illegal immigration. And that poor woman burned to death here because of the actions of the mayor and the governor not taking care of their citizens in this city.
Doing some research on this, Trump deported this individual in term 1.
Yep, and he came back. And he came back again and was living here, and he specifically came to this city because they were taking better care of illegal criminals than they were their own citizens.
So this is horrifying. Of course, nobody wants more Laken Rileys. Nobody wants more dead Americans at the hands of criminal aliens. How are you going to stop it? Because it does seem like the states of New York are refusing to bend the knee.
I'm going to call out the governor, and I'm going to call out this mayor for what they're doing. The governor could do an executive order today and rescind all of these sanctuary city policies. So this poor woman burned to death, and a man sat here and watched it that shouldn't have ever been in this country, and the governor can fix this today. Also, this mayor can step up in city council and make decisions that protect their citizens, take better care of people instead of these criminals. Listen, ICE lodged a detainer for this individual that burned this woman alive, and the Department of Corrections in the city won't turn him over. So that's how bad these leaders are and how much they're protecting criminals to the detriment of their own citizens.
At what point do you think that there's legal culpability for the cities and the jurisdictions that do this to Americans? I mean, because they're wantonly passing and enforcing policies that murder Americans.
That's exactly right. President Trump is suing. The Department of Justice is suing the city and the state of New York City. But listen, we've got to educate the public. They got to stand up for themselves and get rid of these leaders and put people in place that really want to protect them and make it safer. The public, when I've been out here on ICE raids in New York City, people will walk by our officers on the street and say, thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for getting these guys off our streets. So the people that have to live in these communities,
yes,
they're glad that President Trump is taking action to protect them. Hopefully we never see another illegal criminal burning someone alive, perpetuating a criminal act like that ever again in the future. Now that he's our president.
So we've all seen the horrible viral video. What's going to happen to this individual that burned an American alive?
The Department of Corrections here in New York City will not turn him over to ICE. So I don't know if he'll face consequences. Listen, one of the things I heard today was that people are coming to this country illegally that are criminals because they think and they heard that under Joe Biden they wouldn't be prosecuted. They knew that when they came here and perpetuated crimes that they wouldn't be prosecuted, there wouldn't be consequences. I'm going to make sure everybody in the world knows if you come to this country illegally, there will be consequences. President Trump has empowered all of us to make sure that we have the ability to go after individuals. We're going to prosecute you to the fullest extent of the law. We're going to get you out of our country.
Final question. Last night you were with Laken Riley's mother. She was there. I know that you met with her. I know that you've met with them before a number of times. Democrats wouldn't stand up and recognize her. It seemed like they didn't even, they refused to even acknowledge her existence.
Yeah, and Jocelyn's mother as well. They were both there. These people have someone gone from their lives that they gave birth to, that they had dreams and hopes for. You know, one of the things that my grandma said to me when my dad died was she said, no mother should ever have to outlive her children. And so those two mothers have to live without their children because of people that were here illegally in this country. And the fact that Democrats can't get up off their butts, stand on their feet, and give them a little bit of respect for the fact that they had a tragedy in their family, I think it's disgusting. I got to tell you, I've been in politics a long time, and I've seen a lot of ugliness in politics. I saw a new level of low last night from the Democrat Party. I would have never believed that they would act like that, and I truly believe it's going to be the end and the destruction of their party. I really do. I think we saw the end and how desperate they are. And the American people's eyes are open now to the fact that they don't care about them. They just care about about themselves and their political agenda more than they do about really doing their jobs as being leaders.
Yeah, when Americans are being lit on fire and you can't do anything about it.
When you can't stand up for a mother who lost her child, when you can't make sure that there's going to be consequences for somebody who burned another woman alive and then sat down to watch it like it was
Right
a
here.
show. Right here.
Yeah.
This bench right here. When you have a poor little boy with brain cancer that you can't applaud when he gets one of his dreams to come true, yeah. I tell you what, these people, they should never be elected again.
Yeah. I think, is New York going to go red?
That's right.
Yeah.
We'll make sure we do all we can to make it safe. And then it'll go red.
Thank you, Secretary.
Yep, thank you. Thanks for being here.
After that, the Homeland Security Secretary said, I got to go back to D.C. I got to get going. Got some meetings at the White House and also some news hits along with a ton of other business to attend to. But this was the day in New York. It was really neat to see sort of behind the scenes and to experience all of it. Something that we're thankful that we get a chance to do because it gives us an opportunity to sort of crack the window open for you. We look forward to more of these opportunities in the future and having an ongoing series, The Front Seat to the Golden Era. Anyway, it's your boy Benny. Thanks for joining us in New York. It's fun, very fun day. See ya.